Welcome back, good people of a great nation. It's a pleasure to bring this edition of Development Focus with Jide Ojo to you live on the station of the moment, independent television. Today is April 21, 2021. We are gradually inching towards the end of the month, and this is the midweek edition of This Morning on ITV. This morning, on this discussion segment, we shall be discussing the role of lawyers in national development. And I've been able to drag into this studio. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of persuasion and pressure and lobbying, but eventually she caved in. Here with me, the chairperson of Nigeria Bar Association, Federal Capital Territory, Dr. Evelyn Shakarawi. It's a pleasure to have you here, ma.
Thank you very much, Jide.
Thanks for obliging me with your presence. I practically had to drag her out of bed to make this early morning meeting. Yes, Dr. Shakarawi, you have so many things rolled into one. Primarily, you are a lawyer, you are a conciliator and mediator, you are a lecturer, you are an administrator, you are a consultant, you are... How did you even get time to do all of these things? Do you need more than 24 hours a day to meet up with your... Because I don't know how you share your time. You are lecturing at Bingham University, you are doing consultancy, you just resigned from IPAS as country director, you have your own NGO, you have your own law firm. Please tell me the secret. And you are still looking this beautiful and stress-free.
Jide, you are so kind, aren't you?
Well, I'm not kind enough. You earn it. You earn it.
Thank you very much. I must tell you the truth. Sometimes 24 hours appears too small. You know, but, you know, with passion, there's nothing you can't do.
Sure.
And one of the reasons I left IPAS was because it got to a point I felt boxed into a corner. I felt boxed into just one particular area, which
you are not used to. You are a woman about town. You want your freedom.
Absolutely.
You know.
So I decided, you know what, I am better off, you know, just being on my own, doing my thing the way I love to do it, and you know. So it's been. I left in November 2019. Yeah. And I was actually thinking it will help me to slow down and all that, but guess what? I'm more busier than I was.
Of course, that's the reward for hard work is more work. So now tell me about yourself. I wanted to call up from you. I know you are from Southern Kaduna. You were on scholarship for 5 years of your study from 87 to 1992. But let's hear it from the horse's mouth. Who is our Evelyn Shakarawi?
Well, our Evelyn Shakarawi is a very simple, down-to-earth woman who loves people and who is passionate about whatever she puts her mind to do. I thank God for bringing me to where I am today. But I believe I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I believe that I am still on a journey. And, you know, so far God has been very merciful. I once told my story, and I think I've told this story.
No, I need to hear the story. And our audience, our viewers need to hear your story from you.
You know, I almost didn't go to school.
Wow. That would have been a great...
My father almost didn't send me to school.
Why?
Because I was the second child. My elder brother was there, myself, and then after me, I think there were like 3 boys. So I was like, at that period in time when I was about going into school, I was the only female, and I had 4 brothers. My father felt that the family resources were so scarce. So because I'm a woman, the tendency is that by the time I get to a certain age, I'll be married.
You married off, yeah.
So for him, it was better to use the scarce family resources to
train the boys.
On his boys, because the boys will always remain. And it took my mother who actually never saw the four corners
of school.
of a school, who insisted, they said, why would you not send your only daughter to school? After all, she's a gift from God to you, just like the male children are. And you are not God. You don't know where
how she
their
will end up.
is and how she will end up. You don't even know whether she will be the one that will be there to take care of you in your old age.
And to bring the glory of the family out.
Thank you very much. You know, and fortunately, unlike situations where you have some men who don't even listen to their wives, who feel that their wives are just a piece of furniture in the house, you know, he listened to her. I said, okay, we'll see. And my mother was also a very entrepreneurial woman who also contributed towards the family purse and all that. And so both of them decided, okay, we'll send all the children to school. And that was how I ended up going to school. And it will interest you to note that I was the first of my father's children to graduate from the secondary school.
Wow.
My brother practically my elder brother was not interested even in going to school. He had to take a lot of cajoling on my own part. God bless his soul. He died in 2002.
Wow.
You know, so, you know, but at the end of the day, the person who was regarded as not eligible to go to school, not too important or eligible to go to school, I ended up becoming the cornerstone of my family. Ended up taking care of unfortunately, my father didn't live to see what I became. He died the year I graduated from secondary school.
Wow. So you got this Kaduna State scholarship for 5 years, 87 to 90.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to go to the university.
So you must be very brilliant and intelligent for you to earn that scholarship.
Well, it's relative. But just to state that that scholarship was available to all at the time I went. Once you apply and you have the admission, and I think there were some criteria anyway, but majorly people had access to that scholarship. I hear it's no longer available.
I mean, missed opportunity.
You know,
So 1991 you graduated from law, and then you went on, you know, in 2004, they're about to Chevening to do your master's in
2006. I won the Chevening scholarship. This Chevening scholarship is a scholarship provided by the British government. Usually every year they select between 30 people, 35 people out of so many applications. And it was my second try. The first try I didn't get it, but the second try I got it in 2006.
You want to hear the truth? I tried it 4 times. I never got it.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, that's a story for another day. I'm happy with who I have become.
Yes, so I eventually got it, and I got the scholarship, and I went to London. I enrolled at School of Oriental and African Studies of the University of London, and I read LLM in law and development. That's Masters in Law and Development.
So your first degree sponsored, second degree sponsored?
By the grace of God.
Okay. I know the grace. The grace is available for everybody.
For everyone, absolutely.
Now, let's get back to your legal journey. You've been involved in so many things. You practice, you are a practicing lawyer, but you have also put into development work, you know, work for civil society organization. You are FIDA president, Federation of International Women Lawyers at some point. Now you are chairman or chairperson of Nigeria Bar Association, so that shows your activism. You are a gender advocate. You are a mediator and conciliator.
That's right.
So where do we start? What prompted you to study law? Let's start from there.
Yeah. Well, on a very serious note, I never had interest in law. Yes. I will call myself an accidental lawyer.
Interesting.
Yes. At the time I graduated from the secondary school. I went to Federal Government College, Azare.
Okay. Azare is
in
in Bauchi.
State,
Yeah.
yes. And when I left, at the year I left, I got admitted into the University of Benin to read English and literature. Literature was my best
subject.
My best. Yeah, I made a 1. Even at the A levels, I made 1. You know, so it was my best subject, and I wanted to do something like that. However, there was an issue, and I couldn't, go ahead with that admission. So I think God was, charting a course for me.
For you.
So I came back, went to College of Advanced Studies, Zaria, and did A levels, IJMB A levels. Yeah. So when when you do A levels, so it entitles you to go for direct entry instead of starting from 100 levels. So you go straight to 200 levels.
That's true.
So when the JAM forms were out for direct entry, I got a form, and I had already completed the form, and my first choice was mass communication. I used to feel wowed when I see people like CNA Allwell Brown, Ronke Ayuba. You remember those ladies of the tube in those days?
Ladies of the tube.
Yes.
Ladies of the tube.
Ladies of the tube. So I used to, I said, this is what I want to do. So I filled mass com. But shortly before I submitted it, my uncle came to visit me in school. So he said, he hears that we're already submitting our forms. I said, yes, but I'm here to submit mine. He said, what do I want to read? I said, mass com. He looked at me, he said, Hawa, do you want to hear the truth? Nigeria is changing. You need to study a course that whether there is a job opportunity or not,
you can survive.
To give yourself a job. I said, is that so? He said, yes. I'm telling you out of experience, because he had already graduated, was already working with Nigerian Airways at that time. And he said, I said, so what kind of course do you think? He said, have you considered law? I said, law. It never crossed my path.
Imagine.
Even though I am a very brilliant art student, but law never crossed my mind. He said, well, I'm telling you the truth. If you consider if you go for it, one day you will thank me for it. And I am ever grateful to him till date.
For that.
So I had to go and use a TPEX and crossed out mass com and included law. That was how I read it. So, and it will interest you to note that within my set that graduated from College of Advanced Studies, Zaria, practically everybody will tell you, I want to read law, I want to read law. Guess what? I think it was only 2 of us that were admitted to read law
to study law then.
Yes.
Imagine. Yeah. Anyway, God really ordained your path.
Ordained my path, yeah.
Now, you've been 30 years. This will be your 30th year at the bar. You graduated 1991. Yeah. So you've been practicing and doing several other things around law.
Yeah.
How do you think we can use law for development? Law, I've heard people saying law as instrument of social engineering. Yeah. What is your concept of law as instrument of social engineering?
Yeah, I think it was one of the major things that propelled me to go study law and development in SOAS, University of London. I mean, when you see law and human rights as an aspect of development.
Yeah, sure.
And the perception that law is only about going to the courts, wearing
wig and gown,
and then going to court, representing clients. That is the be and all of law. That is in the past. The reality is that law, like you rightly said, is a tool for social
engineering, yeah.
And this is because across all sectors, you will notice that the law profession, the law training, the law, the training you get in law, as well as the grooming, it gets you ready to work almost in every sector. Across the three tiers of government, both judiciary, legislature, and the executive, you find lawyers all over the place. You go to other sectors of development. Is it in the agriculture? Is it in engineering? You still find lawyers playing a very, very key role. Where there are two parties involved in one form of enterprise or engagement or whatever, there is need for advocacy. There is need for negotiation. There is need for influencing, to arrive at a common ground that is workable for all. The skill you have as a lawyer trains you to be able to do that. So aside from the issue of litigation, and then aside from the areas of solicitors' work, where you do a lot of conveyancing, registration of companies, protection of people's rights, and all that, you see, when you are dealing with members of the public in your business, in fact, you, Jide Ojo, even as a consultant, being a development consultant, one who is involved in civil society work and now involved in communications, media and communications and all that, you still would need the services of a lawyer.
Sure.
I'm sure in the course of these engagements, there are some legal documentation that you probably need to sign. You need to get guidance and counseling on what you are appending your signature for. So these are different facets of legal practice.
Okay.
And then I want to bring even the issue of human rights, dealing with the public, citizens, and all that, ensuring that citizens get their due, ensuring that citizens are, treated the way that is expected as detailed in our law books, the legal framework that we have, even ensuring that the leaders or the people who are in the helm of affairs in governance do what they need to do within the framework of the Constitution and the legal framework that gives them the power to act. These are all things that law, brings into play to ensure that at the end of the day, it is something that is, beneficial and also is in accordance with the laid down provisions of the law.
Now, let's calibrate your, should I say, work experiences. You in 2014, you were a member of the National Conference.
Yeah, that's right.
What was the high point of your participation at that level? You have about 600 Nigerians from all walks of life.
About 500.
About 500.
Yes.
So what was the high point? You were a federal government nominee. Is it from Kaduna State?
No, from women groups.
From women groups. So what was the high point, and why do you think that report was jettisoned or should have been considered?
Okay. That confab, I tell you till today, is still, particularly the result that came out of that confab is still very, very relevant today. It was, the confab gave me a picture of Nigeria. Because we had delegates from across the length and breadth of the country, different groups, different
religious
backgrounds, and we all came there. And of course, it for me, it was Nigeria on a showcase. And we had one of the high points for me was when, after all the, in fact, there was a time some people threatened to walk out.
Yeah, the Niger Delta people.
Because they felt that things were not being done, their own way, and all that. At the end of the day, within that confab, within the delegates, we had people who were the peacemakers. We had people who were how do I call it? The people who were the ones that were always right in front, trying to push one agenda or the other. And then, of course, we had those who were just sitting on the fence. And for them, either way it goes, it was fine with them. But at the end of the day, in spite of whatever position each of the delegates believed, I think we were unanimous on the fact that we needed a one Nigeria. We were unanimous in the sense that we needed one Nigeria, but the way our governance is structured, we cannot make any progress unless we restructure and, agree on issues of resource control, issues of women empowerment and affirmative action, issues of state creation, dealing with marginalized groups and making sure that they have a sense of belonging to the polity called Nigeria. So at the end of the day, we had different fora within the confab. We have the northern delegates, we had the South Delegates Forum, Northern Delegates Forum, we had the Southwest Delegates Forum, we had the Middle Belt Delegates Forum, and there were also small pockets of groups like that based on their interests that they were pursuing. But at the end of the day, for me, the highest point was the day we adopted a model constitution for Nigeria. It's very sad that after all the resources that had gone in, after all the time, after all the investment that was put in towards that conference. Of course, people had their misgivings. Some people felt, President Goodluck Jonathan had his agenda. He just brought in people to just do his bidding. From my own perspective, I didn't see that play out. So at the end of the day, in spite of whatever, we were unanimous and we came up with a model constitution. And it's important to note also that before the production of that model constitution, we consulted all the documents that came from all the different constitutional conferences that had happened before us. I was particularly in the committee on law, judiciary, and human rights and all. Within that committee, we had eminent people like Olisa Agbakova, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mike Ozekome, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Charles Udosonwe, and judges, retired judges, senior retired judges like Justice Gumi, who was one-time Chief Judge of Nigeria, and now the Emir of Gumi, and all that, and including academics.
You felt that 20 was a missed opportunity?
It was a missed opportunity, absolutely. Because the product of that confab, took cognizance and incorporated all other recommendations of previous, confab.
Can I just, let me pause you there. Can I just appeal to our viewers to hold their thoughts? At the appropriate time, we will open the phone lines. It's not yet time for us to receive calls. People are already calling in. Please, at the appropriate time, we will advertise and we will show the numbers to call on the screen and we'll pick your call. This is not yet time for you to call in, please. And because our phone lines have been buzzing, but it's not yet time for us to pick calls. So let's get back to your you were into law practice. Yeah. How did you get into civil society?
All right. I got into civil society when I became a member of International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA. I joined FIDA, and by 2002, I was elected the chairperson of FIDA Abuja branch. Now, as chairperson of FIDA Abuja branch, I took over from an ESCO who had done a bit of some work with SETPA. SETPA at that time, I think Development and Population thank you very much. They supported some democracy and governance projects at the time. Okay. And FIDA was a beneficiary of that project. However, I felt that there was a lot more that we could do. Apart from that SETPA project that FIDA had, you know, the general impression of members was that FIDA was just about a group of women lawyers. We just come, we organize dinners, we visit people in organizations and all that. You know, I went back to the constitution of FIDA and why FIDA was set up, her objectives, and I saw that it's much more than that. So, under my leadership as chair of FIDA, I began to network with other civil society organizations, particularly other women's groups that are promoting the interest and well-being of women, protecting the rights of women and all that. And it was for me, it was a learning period because I was never an ESCO member. I just woke up and found that I was the chair of FIDA Abuja.
So I hope it wasn't the same feeling becoming MBA chairman.
No, it's slightly different. It's slightly because by the time I became MBA chairman, I had seen it all, so to speak. You know, so I had the opportunity to network practically every workshop, any training that FIDA is invited, I make sure I'm there. Except it's happening at the same time, I ensure other people get represented. So within my first tenure, 2 years, I had a full grasp of what it is to work as a civil society organization. And so I had to reposition FIDA to be able to, you know, be amongst one of the leading, because with the fact that we are a national organization, we have presence across, you know, every part of this country. If matters that have to do with women's rights come up, irrespective of where it is happening, we can liaise with our other counterparts in those states and get things done. And so by the time I finished my first tenure, I got re-elected for a second tenure. So within 4 years, I had repositioned FIDA from a membership where we had just about 15 people coming to meetings. By the time I was done, we were clocking over 100 you know, active members who were attending meetings and
that's very commendable.
Yes, you know, so that was my in-route into civil society, and it was really a learning curve for me. And as soon as I finished my tenure, as I was finishing my tenure, I was elected the national vice president for FIDA. Okay. And we did a lot of work with different development partners, British Council, like French embassy. Is it French or France embassy? Embassy now, yeah. And some other development partners who supported us and gave us grants, which we implemented. But I think as a result of the role I played working with British Council, you know, it practically gave me an edge when I applied for that Chevening scholarship. I think I need to confess that. You know, so, you know, they were very, very impressed with some of the impacts that we brought about.
So you went on to become the president of FIDA? The
president of, from thereafter I became president
let's
of
talk
FIDA.
briefly about what was the high point of your achievement as president of FIDA?
Yeah, as president of FIDA, by
That's
the time
Federation of International Women
International
Lawyers.
Federation of Women Lawyers. Yes.
So for the benefit of those who are watching
yes.
us, so that they don't say feeding bottle. So
no.
Let's break it down.
That's right. FIDA is FIDA,
yes.
and it's a Spanish acronym.
Okay.
Yes. You know, so for me, the highest point of my tenure as president of FIDA was when I first got FIDA institutionalized. FIDA, at the time I took over, had no office of her own. Well, we had an office in Morocco, in
Lagos.
In Lagos.
Morocco, that's the
yes.
small part of VI.
Yes. Is that no, not Morocco, in Makoko.
Makoko.
I'm sorry, that's around Yaba.
Makoko and Morocco are sisters. They are just the.
Yeah, there was this office that the Lagos state government gave FIDA.
Okay.
You know those you remember during Babangida when he constructed 2 political party offices in every
SDP and NRC
thank you. So one of those offices was allocated to FIDA. You know, but it was more like just an office space there, because most of the presidents never utilized that place effectively. You know, that office is still there, but the reality is that as a national organization, Abuja is the capital, the seat of capitals of the Nigeria, seat of government in Nigeria, and is the capital. And we felt that FIDA's presence needs to be established in Abuja. So by the time I took over, we didn't have an office. You know, so my major preoccupation is to institutionalize FIDA, because if we want to compete favorably with other women groups and civil society groups that are promoting women's rights, then we must have a functional office with staff, with the complement of staff who are working, you know, and pushing the objectives of the organization. That happened during my time. And then the next thing I did was to begin the development of a 5-year strategic plan
for FIDA.
For FIDA. We had
Which year were you the president?
I was between 2012 and 2015.
Okay, between 2012
and 2015. And at that time, FIDA was FIDA started as an organization in Nigeria in 1964.
Wow.
So we were already getting close to 50 years with nothing tangible to show for it. And I felt, no, I need, within the 3 years that I am president, I need to do something to change the tide. So with the support of Justice for All program of the British Council, they provided us with funding, and we were able to develop a 5-year strategic plan for FIDA. It will interest you to note that as soon as that strategic plan was in place, we made sure our partners and other development partners had access to that strategic plan, and they now saw an organization with a focus. And it also helped to ensure that all the FIDA branches across the states were following in line with that strategic plan. So we don't have this one is doing one thing, another one is doing something different. You know, the important thing was for us to stay focused on the,
okay.
You know,
I know you can talk on and on every, you are an embodiment of so many things.
Yeah.
And 1 hour is not just enough for us to talk through your experiences.
Yeah.
Let's do a bit of comparative analysis.
Yeah.
You studied in ABU, you got your first degree in ABU. Then you went to the London School of Economics and
School of Oriental and African Studies.
And African Studies, University of London, to get your master's. Compare and contrast the experience of studying in Nigeria and studying abroad.
There's no basis for comparison.
Let's do that. I mean, you want to be the best 20 economists in 2020. We've missed that anyway.
We've missed that.
But now, you are a lecturer now. So, assuming you are talking to your students at Bingham University now, and you want to share experiences, when you were in ABU studying for law, and when you were in SOAS studying for your master's, what are the high points of those experiences?
Yeah. It was more like, I've been a wide traveler.
Yeah.
I started traveling out of this country as far back as year 2000. And within that year 2000, and now, in a year, the least I travel maybe 4 or 5 times. I can travel much more.
Even during COVID-19?
No. Of course, COVID-19 has...
No, there are some of you that have exemption.
Exemption from COVID, eh?
Yes, sir. So maybe you are doing your private jet stuff.
So what I'm trying to say that by the time I went for my LLM in London, I had traveled, I've been to London so many times.
Okay.
But the opportunity of going to study was my first time. So I received some shock, because here you are, on my arrival, I had information on where I need to go and register for my GP within the community where I was going to live, make sure that I had some, documentation of my stay in the UK. That was one shock. Number 2, got to the university. Of course, my tuition had already been paid, and my first to attend the lectures. Some of those big names that you only read their books, or when you are studying, you get references about, them. Here I was sitting down. The lecturer will come in with a cup of coffee in his hand. He sits down, and you wonder, are we actually having a lecture?
Oh, you're having a chat.
You're having a chat. Do you understand? And then we
just demystified learning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I never ever saw a teacher with a chalk.
And we are still teaching our students with blackboard and chalk.
And
maybe Nigeria is the only country they manufacture chalk
and
for now.
I never, nobody ever gave me handouts. Rather, there are references, reading resources.
And there are,
Yeah, you read.
Library.
There are, of course, you have your identity, your ID number, and you have your PIN number. So usually they just send it straight to you. So you just click on it, put your PIN, and all the reading. Like from the beginning of the it's not semester, it's a terminal. The UK is not like the US where you operate the semester system. So from the beginning of the term to the end, all the courses, the modules for the course, they are already in your system. All the reading resources, and these are articles that will make you to form. They don't give you a handout to say, this is my view. You read them and form your view. And then during the class is a time for, okay, you read, what do you think? And then we have people argue, for me, this is it. And in my class, we had people from China, people from Malaysia, people from different walks of life. We had people from America too, and also had Africans. Though those of us from Africa were few, So we had different people sharing, perspective from their different countries. So it was really, a great opportunity for learning. And you have access to the library, you have access to journals. These are all paid for by the school. So you cannot go and say, oh, NEPA took light, so I couldn't do this. You know.
We will get there.
Yeah, exactly.
We will get there. So
and I wish Nigeria can,
you have been
get there.
a lecturer at Bingham University teaching human rights. What has been your experience imparting knowledge? How receptive are your students to learning?
Yeah. One, I have always loved to impart knowledge. In fact, like I told you, my first admission in Benin was actually a B.Ed in English and Literature. So the opportunity, when I got this opportunity to, by the way, I think I need to state that the lecturing that I do is part-time. Yeah. So
you can only do
not
part-time
full-time. I can't do with all my
your legal practice will suffer, your
exactly.
consultancy will suffer.
Exactly. So one of the things I noticed is that the level of education has really dropped. You know, because I lecture 300 level students. And when we meet in the class, I want us to have a conversation. And I don't see that encouraging, that enthusiasm that you see from your students. I remember during our time, sometimes we challenge our lecturers in ABU.
Wow.
We say, this, and the lecture. Sometimes some of the lecturers take offense that you challenge them, you know, and all that. But at least we had at the time there was exactly and learning. As soon as we leave from the lecture class, most of students are already in the library. You're trying to read your law reports. You're trying to do that. I don't see that happening in the students of these days. And I gave a take-home assignment. Take-home assignment that you can make reference to books online and all that, and be able to write. And what I am seeing is shocking me. You know, so and I think it is a product of the dwindling level of education at the secondary school level. Because if you produce secondary school graduates who cannot engage in a flowing and simple, language, then you would definitely not, you will see it play out in the exams or assignments that you give them. Some cannot even express themselves.
Yeah, that's a very sad story.
Well.
But again, we just have to take synopsis because there's a lot to discuss and our time is fast spent. Let's look at, you are from Cardinal, Southern Kaduna.
That's right.
And there have been this perpetual crisis, conflict, killings, and all of that.
Yeah.
How do you think that crisis can be resolved? Let's have a short break, and then you respond to that.
Okay.
We're fighting for equality in our country. We want to create a society where all of us exist as human beings. We want to restore the dignity of the African continent and position Africa as an equal partner in the world economy and international politics. We want Africa to be like Europe. We don't want Europe to treat Africa like it is its own subject. Africa's time is now. It might be a dream. Some might think it's not real, but we know we're going to achieve it. For because this dream is not just a dream, but a generational mission. It's a generational mission we are not prepared. Like many African leaders, we have committed not to betray the dreams of those who came before us. We want to unite the people of Africa to have a common agenda and common purpose. We cannot claim to be Africans, yet we have nothing to show as a proof that indeed we are Africans. When you go into mines, it's multinational companies. When you go into banks, it's multinational companies. When you go into monopoly industries, It's multinational companies. We cannot even own and protect our own agricultural sector with our fertile land in Africa. Every lower grade food get to be dumped in our countries, undermining our own agriculture. We want leaders who are responsible. We want leaders who are accountable. We want leaders who will go to elections and be elected through democratic means. Let people determine their own leadership, and not because leaders are torturing them and intimidating them and imposing themselves on the people. We need you to commit that Africa should not.
Yes, well, welcome back from that short break. The time is right for us to take your calls now. You can reach us via 0809-987-1989. That's our studio line. It's there on your view, on your screen. 0809-987-1989. That's our studio line. You can actually call in. But please, when you call, move away from your TV set, and no name calling, no inciting words. Go straight to the point. We are discussing the role of lawyers in national development and good governance. And I have with me Dr. Awa Evelyn Shekarau. So let's have your take on the crisis of
the crisis in Southern
Kaduna.
It's really very, very sad that the crisis in Southern, when it started, people didn't take it serious. And as you can see, you know, it has been said that when your neighbor's house is on fire.
Hello? Hello? Oh, we missed that call. You can call me.
It has been said that when your neighbor's house is on fire, you should do something to help stop that fire, and also begin to have preventive measures so that the fire will not come to consume you. This is exactly what has happened. When it started in Southern Kaduna and all that, we were shouting to the rooftops. People felt that we were just exaggerating. We're being, and in fact, there was one of the police commissioners at the time said we were just being alarmist. We were exaggerating what was actually going on. Today, that issue is almost engulfing the entire country, you know. And I believe that there is, this can be resolved. We can actually do something to ameliorate the situation that is happening there. It's about social justice. Because the issue of Southern Kaduna dates back even many, many years from the colonial era, where the Southern Kaduna people were brought under the subservience of the Hausa hegemony, the Emir of Zaria. And so we were seen as a district under Zaria Emirates. It is from that very period a lot of, marginalization, domination, oppression, and all that. And it has continued till today. So many issues that the government would, rather than play a neutral role, provide a level playing field that would take care of all the citizens of the state. Rather, we are
so let me pause you and take our first caller. Hello? Oh, we are having drop calls. Please do call in. I think we are having drop calls this morning. But go ahead.
Yeah, so some of these issues, they are issues that must be tackled from the root.
So is
social justice.
Is it really about elders, farmers, or is it about indigenous settler crisis?
They are all so many things in one. You know, I actually take exception when people call it farmers herders clash. When you say a clash or you say a conflict, it presupposes that the two groups come and then they clash. But a situation where people are sleeping in their homes and then from nowhere marauders will come in the dead of night kill people who are already in their home sleeping, burn down community, and even take over some of these villages. Till today, we have some villages in Southern Kaduna that have been, taken over by the Fulani headers.
So how do you resolve that? As a mediator and a conciliator,
yes,
you are an ADR expert. What do you think? Because it's still part of rule of law in good governance, in national development. What do you think?
You see, in mediation, the mediator must be a neutral party. The mediator must be a neutral.
Let's see whether we can take the. Hello? Hello? So this seems not to be friendly to our callers. Sorry.
Yeah, so in mediation, the mediator must be a neutral person. You cannot take sides. Then you bring the parties together and help them tease out the issue. And then the two parties are able to profile, okay, if he does this, I will do this. Okay, then they arrive at a middle ground that is acceptable to both of them. In the case of Southern Kaduna, the government is, seen as the mediator. But a situation where the government, who is the mediator, is not neutral. Sometimes we hear the governor talk and you think whether he's the spokesperson of the Fulani headers. So this is where the problem is. There is need for genuine mediation.
Sorry, let me pause it. Hello. Yeah, good morning. Tell us your name and where you are calling from.
My name is Frank. I'm calling from Apple.
Okay, Francis from Apple.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your question or comment? Very quickly.
When my brother, what happened today, it's quite unfortunate that our leader doesn't want the progress of this country anymore. Because I don't see the reason why a particular group destroying life and property. Now, if you look at this, not even only in Southern Kaduna, all over the nation. Now. For instance, hunger everywhere, independent, no longer go to farm. Everybody is kind of hunger. Why our president say that we should go back to agriculture, that we should look into infrastructure, and the headsmen, we are destroying the crops that people suffer and labor, to feed for their living. They are destroying it, and no one does anything. That is the government support of them.
So you are profiling that there should be social justice.
Why can't hello?
You are in support of social justice.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Support of social justice.
Thank you very much, my brother. We really do appreciate it. Sorry, our time is not our friend on this. Now, I can't allow you to go without, you have talked about mediation and the role government have to play. Now, let's come back to your tenure as the chairperson of Nigeria Bar Association, because I know we need to spend the last 30 seconds to talk about that.
Okay.
What has been your experience as chairperson? You are about the first female chairperson.
That's right. First
FCT,
elected, yes.
First elected female chairperson of FCT
Abuja branch.
Abuja branch. So, what has been your experience? How have you been able to put your Midas touch to work? By the way, I saw you on protest to the National. Was it to the National Assembly?
Yes, to the National Assembly.
Financial autonomy for
judiciary.
Maybe you take the two together.
Okay.
Your experience as bar chair and then issue of financial autonomy to state and judiciary and legislature. Final words.
Well, as chair of the MBA, at the bar, we say there are no ladies at the bar. Yeah. But I keep insisting that we have ladies at the bar. We have gentlemen in skirts, if you call it. So because when we continue, for me, those colonial legacies or Commonwealth legacies of, oh, we are all brothers, there are no women at the back. There are some of those legacies that continue to drive women away and, you know, prevent women getting involved in the mainstream of the legal profession. You know, but having said that, it has been a great journey. It's almost getting to a year now that I was elected the chair of MBA Abuja. And I must tell you the truth, I have received tremendous support from my male counterparts, as well as some of my female counterparts. It will interest you to know that when I was campaigning, my major supporters were men. You know, some of the women were dragging their feet, and I wondered, and indeed it brings to the fore.
How many contestants was?
There, we were actually 3.
Okay.
There were 3 contestants.
You defeated 2.
Well, 1 was disqualified, and then 2 of us advanced to the final stage. But at some point, my opponent withdrew from the race.
Okay. So, anyway, congratulations, Dr. Mrs.
We didn't have the time to talk about the judicial autonomy.
Maybe I will have to bring you back another time. This
no
show
problem.
is
To be my pleasure.
Yes, there's still a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Your IPAS journey,
yeah.
your gender advocacy, your board involvement. So there will be a part 2.
Yeah.
But this is the size of this morning's engagement.
Thank you.
I want to thank you specially for honoring my invitation, despite the inconvenience of having to come from the side of town with heavy gridlock, traffic gridlock. It shows how committed you are to the Nigerian project. And I wish you all the best. Please stay safe and stay blessed.
Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day, man.
Thank you very much, and I really, really enjoyed being here. And no inconvenience whatsoever, trust me. I mean, once you set your mind to do a thing, you discover that it's so
Be rest
easy.
assured that you get another invite. And by the way, you have a member of the bar. She's the GM of this station, so you need to drag her along. She's a lawyer.
Good information.
Mrs. Amba Osasu.
Oh,
please
great.
take her to FIDA, take her to NBA meetings.
Definitely.
You know, and
Definitely.
busy schedule notwithstanding.
Definitely.
You have a member here.
Thank you for that information.
I'm a whistleblower. I know she will hate me for this, but I have to say that. Yeah, it's a pleasure, and please stay tuned. There's another discussion segment coming up shortly. Do stay tuned.